Hi guys, my name is Roland and this is my resort in Thailand. The last couple of months I was busy to build a power wall for our resort. So this system makes our resort being mostly powered by solar energy. It is a DIY project and you could follow all the different steps already in the previous videos, so you know what it is about. Today the power wall is finished and let me show you what we did the last few weeks. So here it is. This is my power wall. Behind door number 1, battery pack. Behind door number 2, all the electronics. If you want to know all the details about the schematics and components, you will find all the links below the video. So let me show you now exactly in every detail what was done, how it was built and what is here. Right, door number 1. This is the battery pack, and the battery pack is built out of 48 lithium iron phosphate prismatic cells. Each cell originally had 100 amp hours of capacity, and because they are used, now I can tell you that they are about 10 to 12% lower than their initial capacity. So the pack as it sits here is a 260 to 270 amp hour pack. So as you know, 3 cells in parallel and then 16 in series makes it a 3P16S pack. The bus bars are aluminium, 25 by 2 millimeters. All these connections in between are 16 square millimeter copper, and balance leads on every bus bar. The BMS is an ordinary BMS. The company is Chinese, called YIT, and it does not have any special features, no Bluetooth or whatsoever. So let's go to the electronics compartment. So on this side here, our 2 big cables from the battery pack, and it will initially come into the DC main breaker. It's a 100 amp DC breaker, and then via a shunt to the DC bus bar. The shunt is for this column meter, and it will show discharge and charge amperage and our state of charge calculated by power flow. From the DC bus bar we have 3 DC breakers, 1 for the inverter and 2 for the chargers. Yeah, I called it and not a Tesla Powerwall, but you will see it is working exactly like a Tesla Powerwall. Just a few minor details which are a little bit different, but the concept is the same. On the down, the AC bus bar, 2 chargers, AC and a meter. So now we have 2 AC chargers, and that is the reason why actually this is called a AC Powerwall, because we do not charge straight from a DC power source like a solar array. We charge right from the grid using normal, these are small vehicle chargers. Charger number 1 is 20 amps, charger number 2 25 amps. This one should have been originally 30 amp, but the manufacturer in China made a mistake and they sent me the wrong one. Then for our discharge, this is a 2000 watts grid tie inverter which can discharge from a battery. The discharge is metered by a current limiter. A CT is taking the required amount of power and then discharging to nullify that phase where it is discharging. Okay, now one of the chargers started to operating. It's a number 2 charger. We will talk about this in a second. Okay, the inverter is switched on the DC side. So here we have a DC contactor, and as a bypass this is a 50 watts and a 50 ohms resistor, which is activated just 2.5 seconds before the contactor is activated. So the capacitors inside the inverter are pre-charged and there is no inrush current to be detected. On the top of this is a DC 12 volts bus bar. There's a lot of 12 volt devices here. One is the contactor, then the controller is using 12 volts for the LEDs, and here on the down is a set of 12 centimeter PC fans, which is cooling this compartment with outside air. So this is the controller. It's a DIY controller as well. The controller's main purpose is to check about the status of some components. First of all, it is checking the smart meter for available power. So the smart meter is sending information about bidirectional power flow, and that information is used to calculate which one of the two chargers, or maybe both, should be used at the moment to charge the battery. The other things is like sending current from the inverter at the discharge. Then it is checking temperature, humidity, and also showing information about charging, discharging on its indicators. On the LCD screen it is showing the situation status of chargers and inverter, then battery voltage, state of charge like it is calculated, then date and time, and then there's second pages which are showing the readout from the meter, so available power, temperature, humidity, and some settings. We have 4 modes. 4 are automatic, so the first 2 are metered. Then mode number 3 is a timer mode, and mode number 4 is a mixed mode between timer and metered mode. Then the next 4 modes are for manual modes. We can select each of the chargers and the inverter straight away manually, and then the next 4 modes are setting modes, where you can set a timer, parameters, limits, and the clock. About the different modes, we will have a special video once the controller is set with Wi-Fi, and so the video will then show about the modes and the Wi-Fi connection to an app, maybe like Blink. Yeah, additionally also you can see there's a SD card there, so the controller can also store the data locally in this setup. So again, why did I decide to build a system based on AC components? The advantage of this system is that you are independent of the location. The Powerwall is just placed right next to your meter, but the place of your solar array does not matter where it is. In our case it is almost 100 meters away. So it's the easiest way to capture excessive energy when it is available. And I did not have to touch any of the other systems. Those are grid-tied systems, and there was no modification necessary whatsoever. So the only thing is metering, checking about the status of the power flow, and the Powerwall, our controller, is deciding what to do according to your settings, your programming. The second advantage, as I said, you can use timer-based modes. If you have a DC system which is charging straight from your solar array, you can produce and store energy only during the daytime, of course. But this one, if in our case the electricity would be very cheap during the nighttime, I could program the time frame where the Powerwall would also charge during that time. But in our case here in Thailand, the off-peak, peak rates are almost the same. But if you want to use the concept of timer-based charging, you have to know that the overall round-trip efficiency of this system is about 85%. So it only makes minimum sense if like your off-peak tariff is, let's say, 80% of the peak tariff. So, but some countries have like tariffs during off-peak which can be maybe 30% of peak tariff. So you could actually make money with the system as well. Okay, so there will be another video of how the modes exactly work of the controller, how it is set, and then also about Wi-Fi and connecting it to an application like Blink. This will be the last video which will conclude and finish up this series. But all the hardware side and software side, actually the Powerwall is working perfectly. In the links you can find documentation, you can find the link to my GitHub account, and you can download also code for the controller, etc. And there's also a list about all the pins which are used from the Arduino Mega. Yeah, that's all I can show you and tell you right at this moment. Today is the first day. The last few days have been very cloudy, overcast, rainy. It was a tropical depression here in Thailand, and yeah, there was almost no energy stored in the battery for the last 3 days. But today is sunny again, blue sky almost, just some scattered clouds. So I'm expecting that it will be the first day with the 2 chargers, and the battery will be kind of filled pretty quickly. So thank you for watching, and that you have been interested so far in my series. So please, if you don't have yet, you can still subscribe. There will be 1 or 2 more videos which will close up all the series. So if you're interested to build some kind of system like this, because you already own a grid-tied system, this would be the perfect way how to do it. I hope I could explain it to you step by step what is necessary to do. And if you have any further questions, please contact me on the email which you see on the end of every video. Check the information which I gave to you, and yeah, the goal is to have many people using solar energy day and night with this kind of stuff, and to change the world step by step. So thank you very much, and yeah, please wait for the last few videos, and I see you again next time.